Hi there, everyone. I'll just share my screen here for you all. Really enjoyed both of those. Those were great. I'm the chairman of Centurion Way Growers. And I thought, as probably that's maybe one of our main issues, that a lot of you won't know who we are or where we are. So I thought I'd give you an insight. So where is Centurion Way Growers? We are in the Glasgow's West End. And I'll zoom in a wee bit more so you can have an idea of exactly where we are. So this is obviously in York Hill, just below the hospital and near Kelvin Hall. And this is our wee site. It's not much, but it's perfectly formed. And all our allotmentees or allotmentaires make the most of all the space that we have on our beds. Loads of produce throughout the year. Some great collections of strawberries. I'm brewing beer, so I've got hops growing there. Courgette's always doing well. So what is Centurion Way Growers? We have this growing space. We were formed in 2014 with the creation of Centurion Way, which is a residential street. And it comprises of 20 raised beds. And then we were constituted in October there of last year. And like the other guys, we've been obviously hampered during COVID to try and get community engagement and to kind of get our kind of projects going. And some of the previous projects that we've had over the last wee while was a community bed taking over a bed that was just underneath a water collection system and putting in herbs and then using that as a way to, as lots of people have been saying, skill sharing, got there eventually. Skill sharing in allotments is just super. So many people with unique talents and skills. And that was one of the things we found during COVID is, people able to share, things like making teas from the different herbs we had, people suggesting recipes for food, and things that we used to do in the past was obviously this is pre-COVID, doing barbecues and that sort of thing to get more community spirit. And so we obviously previously have had funded projects as well, successful, where we've been able to get funding from Partick Housing and the council to install a water collection system. As previously, literally, we were reliant on hoping that the water would rain, which in Scotland is pretty guaranteed. But we've then people bring in water from all over the place to try and supply their plots, and also improving our compost and that sort of thing. And so we've had success and we've managed to put a lot of infrastructure and bits and pieces. But what we want to do is to do a bit more community development. With our current growers at the moment, we would love to do some more networking events, some environmental education, and some encouragement post-COVID. Obviously, like with most people, a lot of people are nervous about coming back down to a site, especially with our site, which is obviously quite small. And also with a number of sites now becoming available, we're going to have people coming in for their first growing seasons. So we'd love to be able to give those current growers support and encouragement, enable them, with like we had last year with the GAF supplied us with some seeds and to kind of get some people growing. And then we also want to do then with new growers coming in and trying to get more people on our list is we would love to make people aware. So it's, marketing. I'm sure a lot of you didn't have a clue who we were or where we are. So that's part of our issue. We do have an Instagram and a Pinterest. So search for us. Give us a follow, Centurion Way Growers. So we'd love to do some more marketing and social events to kind of get out there in the community. And also within that local community, do some more outreach and engage with our local community, get people aware of the wildlife that's around in York Hill Park. There's some great work being done. And so how are we going to achieve that? So with the current growers workshops, we've already been speaking with experts for workshops, and it sounds like some of you guys have got some people with loads of skills, so feel free to get in touch if people are interested in running workshops. More than happy to get involved. So things that we're looking at: crop rotation, soil improvement, companion planting, some composting and water conservation techniques. And then also on top of that, social events, trying to make our small space a bit more accessible, but also welcoming for people to come and enjoy the space that a lot of people have been doing during obviously the lockdown, and just that wee bit of greenery in the city centre, and also then to try and encourage a few more, like within the growing season. We tried a few times to get a pumpkin competition going, and that's an aim of the board, I personally feel. And so for the new growers coming in, it's about open days, promotional material and marketing, so that we can, the onboarding experience of people coming on. We have email, we've got a sign up on our website and everything, but it's looking at how do we get to more people. I've spoken to a few people recently who weren't even aware that there was, they could even apply. And so that's obviously an error, and it's an issue for us that we need to kind of get out there in our community and make people aware that you can apply to have this site. And our waiting list is not that long as well, which is also great. And another sort of thing we'd love to do is workshops for people coming in, so they can experience the site and get a bit of a grasp of what entails, running, your own wee allotment. And one of the great things I did during lockdown was doing a foraging workshop, and learning a wee bit about my local area and what's edible, what's out there, and kind of what's in our and we'd love to be kind of like a host for those sort of things, and as a sort of hub for our community, which would be incredible. And also then obviously running for our local community open days, like 450 people. I don't think we would ever be able to cope with that sort of numbers, but we would need to do a lot to our site to even enable that. We in our pathways and stuff, and just to make it accessible for anyone who was coming in, because obviously we do have raised beds. So if those people who had additional needs to come in and use the spaces, we would love to be able to make that totally accessible for open days. And then obviously work with the workshops, the local environment and wildlife, and also with other constituted groups in the area who've been chatting to recently, to try and learn a wee bit more about how we could team up to do bigger projects within York Hill Park, which is a great big space that we could use. And another thing that we need to hopefully spend is to site development to enable these sort of things. We have a few plots that have now, after the last 8 years or so, have now become damaged. So that's fixing and that sort of thing. And also our pathways and making that sort of accessible, along with purchasing some new equipment and replacing old tools, so that we're able to kind of keep the site as clean and accessible as possible throughout all these kind of workshops that we're hoping, if we do get funding, to be able to achieve. Sorry, that's 7.5 minutes, but that's me done. Any questions at all, ask away.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Guy. Guy, I was wondering with York Hill Park, what are the potential for getting more land where you are, or extending?
We've since 2013, I think we've been approaching the council with Partick Housing, asking them about that. It's been an ongoing thing, and there's issues with ownership of land in the area, and at the moment it's all being dug up at the moment for the COP26 as well. So we don't know, but there is lots of space. So we've been speaking with York Hill Green Spaces as well, who they've got a PTU for the park, and so they are. Last year they did some wildflower planting, and there is some areas up at the back that there's been general questions about, but we don't know yet. And obviously there's the York Hill Hospital that's being demolished at the moment as well, which is a massive big area, which would be sad if it's just more horrible.
No, I think that's quite interesting, given where the People's Plot is as well, and that there's high demand in the West End. I'm very interested that you've been trying to get extensions. That might be worth us talking a bit further with you about.
Yeah, no, that would be great. Yeah, like as I said, we were only constituted in October there. We have been working with the council and Partick Housing since 2013. But yeah, that would be great to get anyone, and any of the very experienced people. It's always happy to have advice.
Okay, Any other questions?
Rowan has, yeah.
Yeah.
I was on a similar track, actually. Thanks for the presentation, Guy. So from the perspective of the People's Plot, we're looking at constituting ourselves and have looked at a few different options. So I was just curious what option you went for when constituting. And you didn't have, is it right, you didn't have a legal structure until last October?
It would be great if you guys want to. We can sit down with the board and everything. A few of them are on here, and we could sit down. We could chat you guys through it all, and try and give you some advice and some things to avoid mostly. But yeah, we could sit down and chat. Get in touch, Centurion Way Growers, and we could sit down and chat with you guys. It'd be great.
Any other questions? Yeah. Judy and then Marie.
Yeah, again. How big is your site?
In feet or inches or?
Well, feet or meters.
We just recently, actually, the council came and measured ours. I could drag that up. If I can send you the details. Do you need to know it now for a further question? I can send you exactly what the...
It sort of led into it because, as I saw it, it's probably only about one full-size plot, isn't it?
It's tiny. Yeah, it's tiny.
Square meters, it really is tiny. And you've got 20 raised beds there. So you want to get more people in, but what are you going to do with the people who want... Because on my site, we get a turnover of about 5%. If that, which would be sort of one of your plots going, one of your raised beds going every year. So, sort of, if you can't get any more land, and if you don't, what is your plans for that? And secondly, I think I was looking at some of your suggestions for workshops. And again, how many people could you get reasonably in your site for a workshop? And then you were talking about doing rotation. And it seems to me that some of these things that you're offering really should be done on a full-sized allotment site. That to talk about rotation, you need to look at a proper, at least 150 square meters. To do proper rotation. You can't do rotation on a raised bed. So would you be better concentrating on things like your foraging and your herbs and, sort of even your cookery, rather than going for workshops which are being offered by other people? And for instance, the People's Plot, they have a full-size plot and they also have access to the rest of the site for demonstration purposes. So that was my question.
Yeah, no, I think we appreciate the limitations. I don't think anyone with a plot doesn't want a massive area. You're coming in at maybe 1.5 meters by 2 meters. That's the limit of your actual raised bed. But for a lot of this, it's about wider learning as well. It's not just limiting to what that is. It's people coming in who have not done any of this. So a lot of the workshops would be even more basic than that. I was just giving a general idea of what we were kind of looking at. But thanks. Yeah, thanks for the advice on that. That's very useful. For open days and that sort of thing, like as I said, we're not going to get 450 people through ours. But on small scale things for, like Glasgow open days, it would be great to have small scale things that we could have that people felt like they could come. And we would have an area that is set and safe and secure for people to come through and experience the site, and not have a complete open, everyone just fire on down to our plot and we'll see what happens. But very kind of like structured and stable kind of thing. And I think, we'll take that advice on about the workshops, and that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, Maria, you had your hand up.
All I wanted to say was I really enjoyed listening to you, and something that really struck a chord with me was just the whole thing about your anxiety relief tea. It's just so in keeping with the way things are right now and the way they've been for a while. And I'd certainly be really interested in learning more about some of the things you're doing in that respect. So maybe myself and a couple of us could come over at some point and visit you. That would be really nice. We'd love to do that.
Yeah, we would love that. Anyone at all who wants to come on down, that would be wonderful. We have actually some of the recipes and stuff on our website, Centurion Way Growers. So feel free to check that out. We have 70 followers on Instagram. Not quite the same as the People's Plot, but we're creeping up on them maybe.
See if you're making a difference to those 7 people, though. That's really important. So, size isn't everything, even in allotments. It's you can do lots of things in the little space you've got.
Thank you very much.
Right. Well, I think what we need to do is we've had 3 really interesting presentations, I think, in 3 very different contexts. So really, we've come, Scott, to your bit, which is the voting, I think.
A poll will appear on your screen in a second. We've got 3 pots of money available. And usually there's a northwest area, a northeast area, and a southern area. But we had some withdrawals. So now that we have 3 pots of money and 3 people applying for them, it's just do all of these presentations meet the criteria for the awards in the first place, which you would have been able to see on our website. Caring for the earth, building the Allotment Association as a community, and making local connections. So that's really what the question is. Do you feel that each of these presentations does those things? Your answers can either be, as we said at the top of the meeting, yes with some of the recommendations brought up during the discussion, if there were any for that particular group, or no.
Where does the money come from?
Mainly from Potato Day.
Oh.
We raise funds. GAF, Glasgow Allotments Forum, doesn't charge any subscriptions, but what it does do is it raises money through Potato Day, and this year through an online shop as well, and it did rather well this year. And we decided, as we had that we should make grants available for allotment sites, which is when we started offering the aiders. So they come up every year and we invite people to apply for them. So that's sort of the background to it, Liz, if that makes sense.
Oh, yes, it does. That's actually what I thought, but I didn't know.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, Scott, are we ready to go?
I'll unmute myself first. Okay, I will click launch, and if nobody sees anything, then let me know and I'll figure out what went wrong. But here goes. The answers are anonymous too, so you don't need to worry about anyone coming back to ask you why you voted the way you voted. And the results are a resounding yes for everyone. So congratulations. If those of you who presented want to hang back, we can do a sort of an analysis afterwards and talk to you about next steps. And that's my housekeeping stuff done too. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks for cheering.
Okay, right. Well, thank you very much indeed, all of you, for attending. I think, again, it has been a most interesting evening. It's really inspiring, I think, to hear what people are trying to do and the new approaches that they're looking at. We wish you all the successful presenters, the best of luck with it. We'll be calling on you to come back in November, not this November, but a year hence, and tell us what you got up to and show us what you got up to and what the outcomes were. So the very best of luck to all of you. And I'm delighted as well that people have got in touch tonight, and hopefully we'll be talking to each other in future, and sharing knowledge has come across as really important in this. So yeah, congratulations to all of you, and good night, I think, from all of us.